Okay, let's talk about what's really going on. Like we're just chatting over snacks. Members of Congress just put in new papers to try to impeach Trump again. This isn't gossip. This isn't some secret whisper. This isn't just people guessing. These are real, official papers. Anyone can go look them up online. They're out there for everyone to see. And when something is official like that, it means it's part of how the government actually works. When I look at what's happening right now with this new push to impeach Trump, I don't see some crazy surprise or the whole country falling apart. I see the same thing I've been watching for years and years. It's like pressure building up slowly, people checking on power changing a little, and the big government parts trying to figure out what to do next. But before I get into all the details, I want to tell you something straight up, real simple. The news headlines are going to try to scare you and say the whole country is about to explode any second. Like some wild movie scene is happening in secret rooms. But if you ignore all that loud, scary stuff and just look at how things actually work, you'll see it's way more normal and way less crazy than they say. But here's the thing the news never really explains. Just putting in those impeachment papers doesn't mean Trump is impeached. It doesn't even mean it's getting big or winning. It just means someone pulled the very first handle. And in our government, pulling one handle doesn't make the whole giant machine go. It just starts things moving a little. If you've ever been on a school club or watched grown-ups run a company, you kinda know how this goes. One kid complaining or one person bringing up a problem can start everyone talking. But talking isn't fixing. Talking isn't kicking someone out. It's just the start. So let's walk through what this start really looks like. Nice and slow. Those impeachment papers go to a smaller group in Congress called a committee. The committee people talk about it, argue about it, and then they vote. Only if most of them say yes, let's keep going, does it go to the big room with all the Congress people. And even then, nothing is for sure. You need more than half the people in the House to vote yes to actually impeach a president. That's the easiest part of the whole thing. But even the easy part has a ton of talking, deals, and people changing their minds. And if the House does say yes and impeaches, guess what? The president still doesn't get kicked out. It just goes to a big trial. And I've been around long enough to see tons of trials. Doesn't matter if it's in a real courtroom, a company fight, or in the Senate. The second lawyers show up, everything gets super slow. People argue forever. Rules make things drag on. They look at proof, fight about the proof, twist the proof, and sometimes throw it away. Trials are never fast, and you never know exactly what's going to happen. Now here's the really hard part. To actually kick a president out of office, the Senate has to say he's guilty, and it takes 2/3 of them to agree. That's a super big majority. That means a lot of people from both parties have to say yes together. And in all of history, guess what? It's never happened. Not even once. No president has ever been removed that way. So when I hear people freaking out saying this is it, everything's gonna change now, I kinda smile a little. Not because it's impossible, but because they don't get how big, slow, complicated things work. Big things don't just snap and break. They stretch, they make creaky noises, they bend a little, but they usually don't just fall apart. Right, okay, now let's talk about something else that's got everyone whispering. Oversight. Oversight is just a fancy word for watching the powerful people to make sure they're doing things right. It's super important, whether it's in a company or in the government. When the watching gets weaker or gets pushed away, that's when you really gotta pay attention. Lately, Trump fired a bunch of inspectors general. Those are the watchdogs inside the government who look for wasting money, cheating, and bad stuff. These aren't political buddies. They're regular workers who've been doing the job forever. Firing one isn't weird. Firing a few happens sometimes. But firing a whole big group all at once, that's a big signal. It means something's going on. Either someone's trying to hide stuff, or someone's trying to put stuff their own people in. If I saw a company suddenly fire all its money checkers at once, I wouldn't lose my mind, but I'd start looking at their money papers extra close. I'd be like, what are they getting ready for? What don't they want anyone to see? Or maybe they're just putting in people who think like them now. Either way, when the watching changes big, it tells you something important about what's going on inside. In government, these signals are even bigger, because we can't just sell our part like in a company. We're stuck with it. We need those checks. We need the rules. We need people making sure things stay fair. But fairness doesn't just happen by magic. Someone has to fight for it. Someone has to ask the hard questions and look at the hard answers. When the watching gets weaker, it's not like everything falls down tomorrow. It's more like the boat starts drifting slowly off course. You lose a little clearness. You lose a little checking. That's what this feels like right now. Not crashing, just drifting. And drifting can be fixed. You can turn the wheel and get back on track. But you gotta notice and you gotta care. Now, back to this impeachment thing. It matters not because it's gonna kick Trump out for sure, or start a huge fight for sure. It matters because it's like poking a spot that's already sore. It shows there's pushing and shoving inside the government. When two parts push against each other, that's friction. Sometimes friction makes things better. Sometimes it just burns out. Sometimes it turns into a new kind of fight. But it never means you know exactly what's gonna happen next. Anyone who says they know for sure how this ends is just guessing. And that's when thinking slow and long helps the most. Whether you're putting money in stocks, or just trying to understand your country, you gotta step back and look at the big picture. You gotta ask, who wants things to get crazier? Who wants things to calm down? Where is it hurting the most? These impeachment papers show one sore spot. The watchdog firings show another sore spot. Things Congress people are saying show a third. Put them all together and it's not a picture of everything breaking. It's a picture of a big machine that's got a lot of weight on it right now. And when things are heavy, that's when you see what something's really made of. Companies show who they really are when things get tough. Leaders show what they really care about. Big government parts show how strong they really are. Right now, the big question isn't will they kick Trump out. The big question is, can the whole system handle all this pushing and pulling, do its job the way it's supposed to, and still be okay on the other side? Will the committees do their work? Will everyone follow the rules? Will the watching get stronger again or weaker? Those are the real things to watch. I've always thought the toughest years are the ones that show if something's really strong. Anyone can drive a boat when the water's flat. It's when the waves get big that you find out if the boat's good. And right now, watching all this, the papers, the arguing, the watchdog stuff, I don't see a boat sinking. I see a boat riding some big waves. Don't get me wrong, big waves can mess things up if you ignore them. Bad steering can add up. Storms can push you way off where you wanted to go. But that doesn't mean you're gonna sink. What I always look for, in money stuff, or government stuff, is, are the parts still doing their jobs? Are the brakes and balances still there? Is the machine still moving? Right now, even with all the yelling, yeah, things are moving. Committees are looking at papers. Congress people are picking sides. Watchdog moves are getting fought about. People are talking like crazy. Courts are making decisions. That's not breaking. That's democracy. It's slow. It's messy. It drives you nuts sometimes, but it's still democracy. When you've watched big things as long as I have, money things, government things, rule things, you learn something most people miss when they're freaking out in the moment. Pressure doesn't always show what's weak. Sometimes it shows how smart something was built. That's what I want to talk about now. Not just the impeachment papers or the watchdog stuff, but how the whole system is answering back. Because how it answers tells you way more about tomorrow than any scary headline. See, when Congress starts moving on something as big as impeachment, it's not just about counting votes. It's about how everyone acts. How do they talk about it? How serious are the committees? How do the bosses explain it to us normal people? Those little signs matter just as much as the rules. And right now, the signs are all over the place. Super loud, but all over the place. Some Congress people want to go super fast. Some say slow down. Some are using these papers just to get what they want in other fights. That tells me something good. It tells me not everyone's on the same team yet. It's kinda broken into pieces. And pieces are good. When everything moves super fast in one direction with no fighting, that's when something's already broken. I've seen it in companies. When the bosses stop arguing and all think exactly the same, scary same, that's when real trouble starts. Not when they're yelling, when they're quiet. Right now in Washington, D.C., oh man, there's yelling, tons of it. That's not breaking. That's different people wanting different things and different. Back to the watchdog stuff, because I think that's where the biggest clues are. When watchdogs get fired, when the checkers lose power, when it's harder to see what's going on, money people get nervous. Companies play it safe. Money moves to safe places instead of growing places. Why? Because watching equals trust, and trust equals everything working. You can't run a giant country, or even a big company, if people don't trust the rules, stay the same, and bad stuff gets caught. So when the watching changes big, even if regular people don't notice, the money world notices, quietly, and politicians might not even know they're scaring the money. Like if a company fires all its money checkers and says, oh, we're just cleaning house. Money people don't read the happy note, they see the firing. Same with government. When a bunch of watchdogs get fired at once, people don't listen to the excuse, they see the pattern. Patterns talk louder than words. Here's where impeachment and watchdogs meet. They're both about making powerful people behave, but they come from different sides. Impeachment is the outside pushing in. Watchdogs are the inside pushing out. When both get shaky at the same time, everything feels wobbly. And wobbly is what I watch way more than loud. Wobbly changes how everyone acts. Lawmakers get weird. The public gets confused. But wobbly isn't the same as falling down. It just means we don't know what's going to happen yet. Too many people mix up we don't know yet with everything's doomed. But doomed is when every road leads to the same bad place. Right now, there are tons of roads. That's just waiting, not doomed. So when people scream this impeachment is going to destroy everything, or no more watchdogs means we're done, I just think of one simple thing. In all my years watching big things, falling apart almost never comes from loud. It comes from quiet. The loud stuff, hearings, papers, yelling, fighting, that's the system trying to fix itself. That's what Congress is doing right now. You might hate how they're doing it. You might think it's dumb, but the doing is good. The gears are turning. That brings me to how normal people are reacting. When these impeachment papers pop up, people go to the extremes. Some think Trump's gone tomorrow. Some think it's nothing. Truth is in the middle. These papers are like the first little earthquake shake. They don't promise a big one, but they show where the ground is shaky. And it's where the ground is shaky, not how loud the news screams, that matters. Right now the shaky spots are in Congress, in the watching parts, in government buildings, in what politicians say. None of them alone decide everything, but together they make a map worth looking at. Let me tell you from the business world, because that's my home. When a company has inside fights, you don't listen to the loudest guy yelling in the meeting. You look at the real signs. Is money coming in less? Did they change who checks the books? Are good people quitting? Did they forget what they started for? Those quiet signs tell way more than shouting. Right now the government is loud, but the big parts are still moving. Stressed, yeah, but moving. Noisy, yeah, but working. And that's what strong looks like to me. I've learned one big thing over the years. Strong things don't run from hard times. They live through them. Weak things try to hide hard times. They shut people up. They kill questions. That's when they fall. But strong things let people fight, because fighting fixes things, and fixing things keeps you alive. Now, about what people think, because impeachment and watching both need people to believe in the system. Not blind believe, but smart believe. Watching, asking, showing up. When people stop believing and stop caring, that's when things really start falling. Slow like mold. One big sign is when people stop voting, stop watching, stop caring, think everything's fake anyway. But it's the opposite. Things fall when people walk away, showing up as the air democracy breathes. So when these papers come out or watchdog news hits, the worst thing isn't getting scared. The worst thing is shrugging and turning off the TV. Scared is loud, but it passes. Shrugging eats things quiet and slow. But right now, I don't see shrugging. I see people talking, arguing, caring, even if they're mad. Caring is step one to fixing. Now about money markets. People always ask me, Warren, does all this crazy politics mess up my money? My answer is simple. Markets don't care about soap opera drama. They care about bones. Drama sells papers. Bones move money. When impeachment papers show up, markets don't freak unless it looks like the grown-up parts are really broken. Rules changing all the time. Watching gone. Secrets everywhere. If the papers look like people trying to do the right thing, markets calm down. If it looks like total mess, markets get careful. If it's messy plus no more watchdogs, markets wake up and watch close. Right now, markets are awake, not screaming, not dancing, just eyes open. Eyes open is smart when things are bumpy. When markets have eyes open, money people want to see things moving normal. And guess what? They are. Committees, meeting, people talking, courts doing court stuff. That's normal even when it's stormy. One more thing people forget. Big systems aren't glass. People are glass. Systems, when built right, can take huge hits. A company can lose its boss and keep going. Government can have big scandals and still run. Markets crash and come back. What makes something tough isn't never getting hit. It's being built to take hits. Our government was built to take hits, not dodge them. And right now it's doing exactly that. Taking the hits, spreading the fight around, not letting one big thing decide everything for the whole country. That's the genius part. The people who started America didn't build a perfect quiet machine. They built one that keeps running even when it's loud and wobbly. That's what you're seeing right now with all this impeachment stuff. A machine that's getting shaken but still doing its job, even if it's slower and messier than we'd like. There's gonna be more news, more yelling, more papers, more he said, she said. But under all that noise, the real story is the same. The big parts are still working even in the storm. And that's what I watch. Not the panic, not the guessing, not the crazy headlines. I watch the bones, the steps, the way it answers back. Because after all these years putting money to work, the secret is always the same. Trust the strong parts, not the shaky noise. And right now, the strong parts of America are still there. When I look at all this, the impeachment push, the watchdog fights, the big shouting, I don't see a country about to fall off a cliff. I see a big strong thing that's got heavy stuff on it, but it's still doing what it was built to do. And the longer I watch money in government, the more I know heavy isn't broken. A lot of times, heavy just means it's alive. People forget that. They see pushing and think, oh no, end of the world. They hear arguing and think doom. But if you've ever seen a good team work, you know healthy teams aren't quiet little mice. They push, they argue, they yell sometimes, they fix stuff by fighting about it. That's what America's big parts are doing right now. Pushing, yelling, checking, fixing, breathing. Quiet is what should scare you. Quiet means no one's looking. Quiet means no one's asking. Quiet means the watchdogs are gone. But right now, it's loud, sometimes way too loud. But loud means people care. Let me zoom out. Big. Every big moment in America goes through three parts. First, people freak out and think everything's over. Then the grown-up parts start working. Hearings, talking, fixing. Then it all calms down and becomes the new normal. Right now we're between freak-out and grown-ups working. Not falling apart. Not total chaos. Just messy, loud, uncomfortable fixing time. That's why I keep talking about the bones. Because bones last. Headlines don't. Papers don't. Talking points don't. But the big structure, the rules, the push and pull, those are built to last forever. I've watched money crashes and comebacks, enough to know the best things don't dodge storms. They get stronger in storms. Now where does this go? More talking, more meetings, more experts guessing wrong. News will scream every day that it's speeding up or exploding or whatever sells, but most of them will be wrong because they're feeling, not looking at the bones. The bones say it's going to be slow. Proof matters, not feelings. The Senate is the final big door, and kicking a president out is still the tallest wall in history. Knowing that keeps you chill because when you know the real rules, the loud stuff doesn't shake you. You stay looking at the real stuff. And real stuff isn't just for money. It's for understanding your country too. You don't judge a company by its happy ads. You judge by its real money, its leaders, its watchers, how it does long term. Same with government. Don't judge by headlines. Judge by the parts that live longer than headlines. And those parts are still moving. Some people will say, Warren, you're too chill. This is wild. But chill isn't not caring. Chill is seeing clear. Chill is looking at the mess and asking, okay, what actually matters here? What lasts? Impeachment papers matter, but not because they promised tomorrow. They matter because they show where people are pushing. Watchdog firings matter, not because they kill everything today. They matter because they show what fight is happening inside. How people react matters because caring keeps things alive. Money markets matter because they feel the bones, not the noise. Here's something I've learned from taking care of other people's money for years. When something big is in your hands, you don't freak out loud. You think clear, steady, careful. Government's the same. When things are big, clear thinking beats loud thinking every time. And clear thinking right now says the system isn't cracking. It's getting tested. Testing hurts a little, but testing is good. You test plane wings so they don't break in storms. You test bridges so they hold in wind. You test democracy so it holds when things get wild. That's what's happening. And even with all the noise, papers, fights, the big parts are holding. Committees working, courts working, lawmakers arguing, watchdogs still barking, the ones left, people still caring. That's strong. And the biggest thing today, institutions live when people believe in them. Smart, not blind. Smart, watching, asking, showing up. This system doesn't run on magic. It runs on people doing stuff. Voting, asking, caring. Whether you want impeachment or hate it, whether you think the watchdog stuff is fine or scary, just keep showing up. Keep asking, don't walk away. Walking away is the real danger. Turbulence isn't. Turbulence is just weather. If people stay in the game, the system gets stronger. If they quit, it gets weaker. That's true for politics, business, everything. I've always believed clear beats scared. And right now clear says, stressed but steady, pushed but working, tested but still here. So, as all this keeps going, do what I've done forever. Look past the loud stuff. Look at the bones. The bones are still good. That's where I'll stop today. Stay in the know, think slow, stay steady. Because when things are wild, staying steady isn't just smart for money. It's how you take care of your country. Thanks for hanging out with me. And like always, keep your eyes on what really matters, not what makes the most noise.